Oromia Dispatch 23, A, From Empire to Freedom, a roadmap for Oromia's transition. Published as part of the Oromia Rising, Essays on Freedom and the Future series. Everyone is invited to contribute. Send your contributions to bianti.kitsa@gmail.com. This is part A of a two-part series titled From Empire to Freedom, a roadmap for Oromia's transition. This installment outlines the philosophical, legal, and political foundations of Oromia's independence movement. Part B will build on this foundation with a practical guide to economic, diplomatic, and societal development for a sovereign Oromo state. Introduction. Liberation requires more than passion. It requires a plan. Declaring independence is a bold and historic act, but genuine freedom is secured through deliberate and strategic preparation. Movements that celebrate the fall of empire without planning for what comes next risk descending into chaos, civil conflict, or authoritarianism. Oromia's pursuit of independence is morally justified, legally defensible, and strategically sound. However, true liberation demands more than legitimacy. It requires competent, coordinated political action to realize and sustain a sovereign state. This roadmap presents a strategic framework for Oromia's transition from imperial domination to a sovereign, democratic, and peaceful nation. It is not merely a declaration of independence, but a blueprint for responsible nation building, one that is mindful of the Oromo struggle and the broader geopolitical landscape. To those asking, what comes after independence? This document offers the answer. Number 1. Declaring independence responsibly. Conditions and readiness. Independence must be rooted in justice, legality, and strategic foresight. Oromia's case for statehood is not only morally sound but increasingly compelling within regional and global contexts. Success, however, requires political cohesion, diplomatic engagement, and internal legitimacy. Key elements include a popular mandate, ideally via a referendum or broad-based consensus in controlled areas, respected leadership, capable of managing governance, diplomacy, and state services, partial territorial control, signaling readiness and legitimacy, protection of minorities and human rights, embedded in foundational values, proactive diplomacy, particularly with regional bodies and international organizations, contingency planning to mitigate the risks of political, economic, or military crises. Ultimately, independence is not just about exiting empire, it's about responsibly constructing something better. Number 2. Political transition. From resistance to representation. Transitioning from resistance to stable statehood begins with a foundational declaration affirming Oromia's sovereignty, unity, and justice. A transitional charter, valid for 6 to 24 months, should outline civil liberties and lay out a roadmap for a permanent constitution. A transitional government of national unity, TGNU, must be inclusive of liberation movements, civil society, regional representatives, youth, women, and diaspora communities. Its key responsibilities will be law and order, constitutional development, and election organization. A constitutional convention and national dialogue must involve wide-ranging consultations to define governance, identity, and institutional architecture. The resulting constitution must be ratified via national referendum to ensure legitimacy. These processes mirror successful transitions like those of Namibia and Timor-Leste, where inclusivity, legal rigor, and international cooperation formed the basis of sustainable nationhood. 3. Security transition. From armed struggle to civil peace. To build peace, security forces must be unified under civilian control, retrained in human rights and democratic norms. Armed resistance groups must be absorbed into a single national security structure. Gradual demilitarization of urban areas and the transfer of authority to civilian police will further stabilize the country. Reintegration programs must support former fighters through education and economic opportunities. A Truth, Justice, and Reconciliation Commission, modeled on South Africa's example, should foster healing and accountability without vengeance. In Part B, we will shift from the foundational principles outlined above to the practical dimensions of building a fully functioning state. Topics will include legal and economic independence, foreign policy, international recognition, social cohesion, and cultural revival, everything necessary to make Oromia not only free, but prosperous and just. Thank you for listening.